We are 10 episodes into the Big Idea to Bestseller podcast, and we are just getting started. It is time to turn up the heat. Now, if there's one thing you got to know about me, it's that I love celebrating small wins and wins along the journey, because I truly believe that we got to have a good time in our pursuit of excellence. So 10 episodes, that's our first 10. We got a lot more to come, but I'm fired up about that. And so today I really wanted to make sure that we give just some incredibly tactical advice. And that's what this episode is all about. So if you're someone that likes certainty, if you like to know what's coming, if you like to see the plan, if you like behind the scenes access, if you like roadmaps, this one's going to be for you. Now, what we're going to share, I'm going to tell you in just a few minutes here, is the exact roadmap that I've used to launch 3 best-selling books and help countless others do the same. At the end of the day, there is a process to writing a book faster than you ever thought possible, and to writing a book that you are incredibly proud of that helps you achieve all of your book dreams, all right? And so when you follow these steps, these are the steps that we take our clients through in the Big Idea to Bestseller program. You can have your book completed and launched at #1 in the Amazon store and on the charts in less than 6 months. So grab a notebook, grab some pens, take some notes, whatever you got to do. But here is the gist of a process. This is the roadmap. And I want to kind of give you guys a peek behind the curtains of what it really takes to write your book. So the first phase is let's get started. All right, before writing a book, you don't actually just write a book. You don't actually just outline your book. This is where a lot of people get stuck. They get stuck because they're like, oh, I have all these ideas. Let me just start writing. Well, then people get confused, they lose the momentum, they don't complete it, and then they give up. So the first thing that we want to do here is we want to do what we call the let's get started phase. This is all of the pre-work. So this is where we create a commitment contract. This is where we start to create our intentions. This is where we identify and make sure that we understand our book niche or our book niche. I don't care how you say it, just pick one and let's move on. But this is really critical step here. This is where you pick your book time, aka the time on your calendar that you're going to allocate and dedicate to your book every single day. And accountability. This is where you identify all of the sources of accountability, where you pick your accountability partner, and so you really set yourself up. By the time you're done here, you've now committed to yourself, which is a commitment that you're never going to break, all right, because we honor commitments to ourselves over here. You're having the intention, you're understanding what is the purpose, why are you doing this, what does success look like? You have the niche, you know exactly who you are writing this book for. The more specific your niche, the easier it is to write. The easier it is to write, the more clear your messaging is going to be. The more clear the messaging is going to be, the more likely the reader is going to feel that you have the answers to solve their problem and take the next step. You're going to have your book time. You're going to have time on your calendar so when it is time to write, you're going to have the habits already built out so that it'll be easy for you to show up and execute when the time comes. And you're going to have your accountability sources. You're going to have an accountability partner. You're going to know who the right person is. You're going to have an accountability group. Maybe you'll have a coach. Maybe you'll have our program to help you out here. But right off the bat, what you've done now is you've set yourself up for success. The second part of the process, the roadmap to your first bestseller, is what we call organized outlining. Now, we use 3 different phases in this process, and we call this the Avengers process. And the 3 simple ways to think about this is, #1 is you need to brain dump and write down everything that you know to be true about a particular topic. This is everything that you've learned, everything that you can teach somebody on. We call this the Spider-Man phase. The next phase is you need to collect a list of all the stories, of all the testimonials, of all the actual experiences, the inspiration, the quotes that you can then add into this book. This is what we call the Ant-Man phase. And the third phase of organized outlining and what is our Avengers process is the Iron Man phase. This is where you combine the 2 phases and you actually produce a final chapter by chapter outline. And so now at this point, once you've outlined, you'll now have all the chapters that you're going to teach. You're going to have the order of which you teach them, and you're going to have a story, a lesson, and a key action item from each chapter. What that does is that gives you exactly what you're going to be writing when you actually start writing it. And now, we've done a let's get started phase. We've done organized outlining. The next phase is actually the writing the first draft. And we call the first draft the doggy draft. All right. We call it the doggy draft because it is rough. We call it the doggy draft because honestly, you're going to be picking up a pile of shit, right? Just like your dog shit. And this is not going to be your perfect draft. I've never met somebody or heard of anybody who writes one draft, calls it a day, and says, hallelujah, I am the GOAT. No, this doesn't happen. Your first draft, the objective here is to get your first draft out as quickly as possible. We recommend trying to get your first draft done to set a goal in 30 days, writing about an hour a day. Now, does it take some people longer? Yes. Does it take some people shorter? Yes. We've had people write their book in 27 days. We've had people take 45 days. But still, imagine that. You've written your book in that time frame. And some of the quick tips here when you get ready to write is you don't edit as you go. All right. This puts you on the hamster wheel of perfection. So don't edit as you go. We have recommendations that you only work on one book at a time. We help you understand exactly what you need to write about when you need to write about it. But the big thing here is the only thing you should focus on when you get to the writing phase is writing. Don't worry about marketing. Don't worry about anything else. Just focus on writing. So let's continue to recap here. And I want to give it a recap every single time so it stays fresh. We're going to let's get started phase, organized outline, the doggy draft. Once you've completed your rough draft, it's time to self-edit. If you followed what we've said up to this point, you're going to have written an incredible book, but it's not going to be polished. And there's going to be things that you need to add, you need to subtract, you need to take out, you need to redo, right? There's all these different things here. And so that is selective self-editing. And in this phase, self-editing is basically where you self-edit your own book. So you will do a verbal read through. This will help you catch mistakes that maybe you didn't catch when you were typing super fast. This is where we have you do a chapter by chapter read through. Do the chapters make sense? Are they in the right order? Does the whole book come together as one? And oftentimes there's a lot of adjustments that get made in this process because you've written your first draft in 30 days and now you're editing it. Now you're going through it and making sure that it's the messaging you want to share and all of these other great things. Once you finish your selective self-editing, you're going to move on to what we call elite editing. This is where you will get your book professionally edited. Now, I always encourage our authors to hire a top tier editor. In our program, we actually have a list of some of our favorite editors that we've vetted that we recommend to you, and many of them actually have discounts for our authors. But the reason that this is so critical is when you have a professional editor, they are not there to criticize you. They are not here to judge you. They are here to help make your book more professional. And by the time they're done with it and you've worked with them, you will have even more confidence than before. And you will have a book that looks professional and it doesn't look like you're an amateur doing this for the first time. And that's a really big, important thing for us to recognize is when we self-publish, there's a lot of garbage out there that people just throw up and it looks terrible. And what we want to do is we want to have our book be as legit as possible. And so working with a great editor can really help with the way the book flows, can really help bring your ideas to life, make sure the sentence structure is all good and things like that. The next phase, and this often happens while you're actually getting your book edited, is covers that convert. All right, so I'll be real honest with you. If your cover sucks, your book sales aren't happening. If your cover sucks, people aren't going to stop and pay attention to what you have to say. Your cover needs to be thought of as like an ad. Does it stop the scroll? Does it get people to understand what the book is about? Does it get people excited? Does it get people intrigued? All right, and if you can do that, you're going to have a higher chance of getting them to convert, aka buy the book. You're going to have a better chance of them remembering the book so that they may look at it later. You're going to have a better chance of them remembering it so that they can tell other people about it. And if you're giving these away, or if you're at a speaking engagement, or if you're running promo materials, a solid cover can make all of the difference. Because at the end of the day, like the simple truth is this, we do judge a book by its cover. Now, with people, we want to give people the benefit of the doubt. But when it comes to books, you judge it by its cover. All right, and there's a reason why you want to have specific covers for specific books, whether that be the industry you're in, the branding you currently use, the color meaning, whatever it may be. And we really try to break this down. So after covers that convert, you're going to have focused formatting. All right. Now, formatting is when you get it to look super legit. This is picking the right font size, making sure that everything looks formatted correctly to make sure that the spacing is right. And You can do this by yourself. There's software that I can recommend to you to do this, but I often encourage you to just outsource it to someone else. And for a few reasons. One is when you outsource it to someone else, you're starting to get in the practice of delegation. You're starting to get in the practice of not doing everything on your own, but also you're giving it to someone who has years and years of experience versus you trying to figure it out. And when we talk about time, you can try to learn the software and do it all yourself and invest in the software, or you could probably just pay less amount of money to have someone else do it for you and save yourself some time in the process. So at this point, your book is completely done. Let's get started. Organized outline, the doggy draft, selective self-editing, elite editing, covers that convert, focused formatting, and boom. Now your book is ready to be published and launched, which leads us into the next part of this roadmap, which is perfect publishing. All right, perfect publishing. This is where you take your book, you take your cover design, you take everything, all your materials, you take your bio, you take your book description, and we put it up onto the publishing site. And for many of our authors, they use KDP. This is Kindle Direct Publishing. And this is where you can go and upload your content and you can publish it. And you can do it in an hour. Some people take even shorter. And you can go through step by step. It'll ask you for pricing. It'll ask you for the details. It'll ask you for categories, keywords, all of these different things. And you just go through these things one by one by one. And then you click publish when you are ready. And look, if you're a first-time person that's publishing, definitely ask somebody for help. But if you have experience for this, it gets really, really, really fast. I can help someone publish a book in less than an hour. But the big thing here is this is where you now start to turn your book into becoming real. All right, because up to this point, your formatters maybe looked at your book, your editors read your book, but up to this point, your book hasn't been put together completely. It hasn't been available for purchase. It hasn't been available for download yet. But once you click that publish button, you are saying to the world, I'm live. I am ready. Let's freaking go. And then the final phase is lucrative launching. This is where you launch your book to #1 using a variety of different strategies. This is where you implement a launch team. This is where you have a launch party. I mean, I'm a big believer in celebrating. Every book that I do, I'm gonna have a launch party because it's an amazing accomplishment for me as an author, but it's also a great way to create virality, shareability, and invite people to be on this journey with me. So this is really, really important. And I wanna say one thing about lucrative launching that is really important to us at Big Idea to Bestseller is this. We want to help you get to #1 bestseller. That's awesome. But more importantly, even than that, is we want to help make sure that you launch this book with your long-term goals in mind. All right, many of the people that come to us, they want book sales, but what they really want is impact. What they really want is high-ticket clients. What they really want is leads. And so we really make sure that when you launch your book, you're not only launching it just for #1 bestseller, we're gonna get you that, we're gonna help you get there, but what we're gonna do is build it and launch it for the long-term play. All right, so then the next 3 to 5 years, you could say, I made 100 grand off this book. All right, rather than, oh, I made 100 sales on launch week, right? We wanna combine the strategies to help you achieve your definition of success, to help you achieve your intention that you set in the Let's Get Started phase. So to recap, we have Let's Get Started, organized outlining, the doggy draft, selective self-editing, elite editing, covers that convert, focus formatting, perfect publishing, lucrative launching, and boom. That is the roadmap. And you just go step by step by step. You crush this thing out, and in less than 6 months, your dream of having a best-selling book can be your reality. You have the knowledge, you have the skills, and clearly, you have the interest, because otherwise you wouldn't even be listening to me talk about this. You wouldn't tune into this podcast if you weren't interested in writing a book. So you have to make a choice right now and say, now is the time to get this out. You have the knowledge, you have the skills, you have the interest. Now is the time for you to just share this all in the format of a book. So if you want to get more information and you're like, yes, this is for me, I'm ready to get this party started, then what I want you to do is learn more about this. I want to give you more resources, and the best resource that you could possibly do right now would be to go to jkelfer.com/book training. And you'll get access to how to self-publish a book in 1 hour a day. All right, it's an instant on demand, and you'll learn more in depth how we go from big idea all the way to bestseller. We'll share stories with you, we'll share concrete stuff, we'll dig into some of these phases on that training. And then after that, we can jump on the phone and have some great time hanging out, chatting, shooting the shit, and helping you get that book out there. So thanks so much for listening to this amazing episode. I had a ton of fun recording this. I love giving you guys the real secret sauce to making it happen. And I can't wait to hear your thoughts and feedback. And if you really love it, share it with a friend, post a review, do your thing. We appreciate that stuff. But most importantly, I appreciate you giving me your time, your energy, and your attention to take some time out of your day here to improve yourself and to get to that next level. So I'll talk to you next time.